everyone, my name is Mitz. Here we are back at Higurashi When They Cry. So, if anything about the last episode has anything going for it, we are now going into the scary half of the second chapter right here. A dead body was found, literally burnt to a crisp, instead of in the first chapter with Tomotaki slashing and clawing at his through his own fingernails. I can only imagine it's because we only recently heard about hearing all about the whole barbecuing, like torture techniques from Takano when we broke inside the warehouse then. And since things are proceeding very different from the first chapter, I wonder if each chapter is really just, in the whole grand scheme of things, really just what if scenarios to figure out what really happened, if there was even a technical canon ending route, or literally this is all just one big old spiral of loops, where like we're just going down to see like a small differences that happen, where Keiichi does something slightly different or kind of something different. Only time will tell. I do not want to know the answer to that. I'll let the game answer the very end. Please never bring it up. Please never bring it up at all. Oh boy. I'm wondering if like there's going to be two different people, or since the police haven't found anything about a missing persons, if at the very least one different person said has been killed instead of Tomotage, especially since there was no identification on them, but they had dental records to look through, and they're literally going to verify it right now. And I guess I was right, since we just hit over the Chapter 6 threshold, and that Chapter 7, which was all of the whole festival, including that break-in to the warehouse, was literally just right over the threshold. So from here to Chapter 12, it's all literally going to be slowly transitioning and going, quote-unquote downhill, because literally I was having too much fun just going through the warehouse scene. Oh boy. I let out a great big yawn. It was like morning had arrived just as I got to sleep. As Mom set up breakfast, she gave me a pained smile. What's the matter, Keiichi? What time did you go to sleep last night? Well, I wanted to go to sleep at midnight, but I had some trouble with that. Hopefully it wasn't on a school night. That's gonna be even worse than actually having a festival on a school night. That's just torture. You're probably all worked up from the festival. No, that's not it. Crunch, crunch. Cereal time. I crunched down hard on the pickled radish to hide my embarrassment. Okay. After all that happened yesterday, and our discussion about the sound Shion heard, I hope to God Shion's not dead. Please let it be anyone but them. Because it seems like the highlight of this chapter is literally just Shion, and like, I swear if she dies here, like, man, it feels like we lost something very intriguing. If it's someone else, and like, maybe like something tied to both Shion and Mion, like, that would accentuate, I guess, the whole sibling dynamic they're having that's focused on this chapter. Be interesting to see through. That banging noise like a child far away, jumping up and down like a wooden floor. Wonder if that's literally just like some ghost, or literally just something that seems innocent now that actually turns out to be very, very much more dark later on. The story wouldn't get out of my head, so I had trouble sleeping. It was a long night, and I kept jumping at the slight sounds of faraway tree branches, which should have been either unhearable or too insignificant to notice. When I woke up to the morning sunlight bird chirping, it made me feel pretty ashamed about it, but I felt far from refreshed this morning. Oh my gosh, you just sped run through breakfast. Keiichi-kun, good morning! Huh? Keiichi-kun, your eyes are all red. Oh, was that the festival literally a school night? Oh my god. Wow. Why is that? Why? Oh, hey. Good morning. I didn't get much sleep last night, so I'm sleep deprived today. Nice. Every teenager is like in high school. The festival yesterday was a lot of fun. Reina's excitement took a long time to go to sleep, so it took a long time to go to sleep too. To sleep! Okay. It ran... Rena, god damn it, I don't care anymore. My gosh, every time I think I understand how to say her name, I just get blindsided again at this point. Her excitement seemed to still be wide awake. They should have this kind of festival more often, so we can have lots of fun together again. Oh, yeah. Reina talking about the festival yesterday made me remember everything I had nearly forgotten about from last night. you're getting flashbacks. Oh my gosh, I was joking. The inside of the ritual storehouse had been so utterly different from the relaxed, bright, everyday life of Hinamizawa. All those stories that Takano-san told me too. Mysterious incidents that occur in the day that went to Nagashi Festival every year. The strange incidences where one person would die, and one would disappear. The old stories of Hinamizawa flickering like a candle behind them. The numerous and horrifying traditions of Onigafuchi village. The villagers with demon blood in them. The terrible, cannibalistic feasts. The poor sacrifices kidnapped from human villages. Victims of the Onikakushi. To call the rage of Oyoshiro-sama, the ritual involving living sacrifices. There were also many, many others. There were so many stories that just remembering them put me in a foul mood. Most of them weren't fiction either. They were true. Or alleged, but based on all this evidence here, there was definitely a practice back then. Also, just realizing, going back a few bits, this storehouse was said like it was barely opened, based on how run down the whole house has been. Plus the fact of of another practice of only the Furude families allowed in. So yeah, Rika definitely knows about all this. Definitely knows all about this. But only went to get the hammer and then. So that means they got rid of the old tradition of, kidnapping and torturing victims with these tools, and now went for more psychological effects. Modern times, change the times to the era, the periods. We didn't need to fear them just because they were real, though. Since it all happened so long ago. Such a very long time ago. Where's Michan? She's late. Huh? Before I realized it, we had arrived at the place where we usually meet with Mion. Probably because I was so lost in thought. We agreed that if she isn't here by now, we can just go on ahead, right? Should we? Mion being late wasn't too rare an occurrence, but today she was unusually late. I'm gonna assume it's a red herring. A few of the ominous tales the night before came back to life in my mind again. That or oh god, please don't let it be Shion, please don't. Who would die this year and who would disappear? It couldn't have been Mion. What should we do, Keiichi-kun? If we don't get going, we'll be late. She'll be here. She didn't call to tell us to be staying home today, right? Let's just wait 5 more minutes, okay? Reina looked at her watch and seemed a little worried, but then she nodded with a satisfied smile. If we had to wait 5 minutes, we'd have to run as fast as we could to school or we'd be late. And since I thought that, we spotted Mion, running towards us, out of breath. Michan! You're late! Ha! Ha! You waited? You should have just gone on ahead. Mion was breathing heavily, and her face was all red. Okay, I caught it was a red herring. I knew it. Her house was right down this road, wasn't it? It wasn't far enough away for her to end up like this, was it? Michan, are you not feeling well? Huh? Now that she mentioned it. Reina pushed Mion's bangs away and put her hand to her forehead. Reina, your hand is pretty cold. Michan, you're a little bit warm. It's no big deal. Give it half a day and I'll be fit as a fiddle. Are you really okay? Don't worry, Keiichi. You're cold from the last let's just say loop time zone timeline has transferred to me on this one. Interdimensional cold. You don't have to push yourself, What's this? Keiichi, are you worried about me? That's nice of you. The answer wasn't like Mion at all. She must have had it pretty bad. I just think you shouldn't push yourself so hard. We can tell the teacher you had to take the day off. I'm fine. I took some medicine. I think it's already working. Mion forced an energetic expression into her face and flexed her biceps at us. Okay, then let's go. Don't overdo it, but of course there's the time. What? We need to run or we won't make it! This morning sure is thrilling now, huh? Maybe just what I need to shake off this slowness. Let's run! Okay, marathon run time. Hey, wait, you're sick. Don't go overboard. I'm gonna run vigorously away. Naruto run. Mi-chan is older than us, right? Okay, Mion is definitely older, okay. She knows her own body better than anyone. I said to leave it at that and assume she was fine. Great. Then we should get going too. We're gonna run after Mion. That was a hard music cut. The school looked the same as always. The hours passed listlessly. My lack of sleep took its toll. If there was a sport where people competed by sleeping, I'd be world champion right now. The trick to overcome this sort of dangerous situation was to hold your pencil upside down. What? Why, you ask? So you don't draw strange patterns all over your notes while you're half asleep. What? If you're holding your pencil upside down, that wouldn't happen, would it? But then you erase everything else, then. Bump, bump, bump. Bump, 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 bump. Something that felt like a razor hit me in the head 6 times. Ow! Ow. What was that for, Sadako? I haven't done a single thing. Who else would play a prank on me like this? Oh, it was chalk, not an eraser. Huh? Hi, teacher. Behind me, like a female outlaw might hold razors, was the teacher's shadow, holding 3 pieces of chalk in each hand. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Maebara-kun, go and wash your face. Right, gladly. How many times did you lean on your pencil? That alone was enough to wake me up. I flew into the hallway as I shoved up by the pressure exuded by the teacher's sheer power. I don't think you want to have the Curry incident happen again. If I was going to wash my face anyway, then I would rather use the sinks out front rather than the ones in the dark restroom. Oh, that was okay. Thinking that, I left the hallway and went to the entrance. The sunlight was strong. So strong you wouldn't think it was June. I turned the faucet. With a lifeless, bubbling noise, lukewarm water came pouring out. If I let it run for a few moments, would it get cold? I looked at it absent-mindedly for a little while. Then a mud tripped and fell. Mind me you choose these sinks, Kei-chan. The ones up front just feel better, don't they? Oh, Mion? No cutting class now. I stuck my hands into the water to find it had gotten so cold that it seemed strange it had ever been warm. It scooped up and splashed it against my face. Once I was done, I moved it away and Mion did the same. Mion, how's your cold doing? You're sleepy because of the medicine, not from lack of sleep, though, right? Actually, this is a secret, but I did a festival yesterday. I got wrapped up in the party my relatives were having. And, well, I had a bit. Underage drinking! A bit. She made a gesture like she was tilting a cup into her mouth. Which means you didn't have a cold or anything. My god. Are you hungover? How old are you? Give me a break. I really don't feel well, you know. I suppose she'd be feeling lousy either way. My god. Still, you treat colds and hangovers in completely different ways. Hangover medicine. I was worried over nothing, huh? Man, I guess that's just like you, Mion. Mion scratched her head, a little embarrassed. She didn't seem to be feeling well, but now that I knew it was a hangover, I didn't need to worry too much. It'll go away with time, after all. Oh, my head really is pounding, so... The teacher told me I should go home early. Oh, you cheater. So we going home now, Mion? Now that I looked again, Mion had her bag with her, so she must have been on her way home. Dang, we're never going to have club activities ever again. I swear to God, if they use the board game tournament thing like later on in this chapter as like I guess something similar to like how Reina and Mion did the whole like green like syringe thing. I guess Keiichi's penalty game after not like saying which was the right mochi. Yeah. I'll just be parallels really, but yeah. Yep, I feel bad about it though. I'll get some rest at home like a good girl. Sorry I can't make it to the club though. Would you take over as leader for today, Kei-chan? I don't know if that will happen. We have that unspoken rule where we don't do the club unless everyone is there, don't we? We never did it when you had to go to your part-time job, did we? Mion laughed wryly, saying we didn't need to worry about her. No matter how much fun we have, though, I think that feeling guilty about friends who can't share in it is the sign of a really fantastic friendship. In that sense, the club Mion has created is a wonderful thing. As I thought about it, the moisture in my washed face dried up. I suppose we were talking too much. If I didn't get back to the classroom soon, I would get in trouble. Okay, later. I'm going back. Be careful on your way home, though. Don't wobble into a sewer or a brook, okay? Got it? I looked at that, turned around, and started heading back to the classroom. Oh, one more thing, Kei-chan. Mion stopped me. I turned my head to listen. What's up? This may sound weird, but don't think too hard about it. That's my cue to think extremely hard about it until my head hurts. Well, it depends on what it is. Last night, near the end of the festival, did you see Tomotaki-san or Takano-san anywhere? I suddenly tensed up. You know Tomotaki-san, Takano-san, right? You remember, Kei-chan, when the four of you were talking during stuff the day before? If I could, I want to forget about sneaking to the storehouse that night as soon as possible. So hearing the names of people I was with at the time really got to me. Besides that, though, why was Mion asking me a question like that? I ended up staring at her, and would answer immediately. Was she asking to see if I'd seen them or not, or was she asking the question knowing that I had? I couldn't tell. Well, maybe? I might have seen them around, I don't know. My vague response was clearly not to Mion's liking. What answer was he expecting from me? There's no way for me to know. I see. No more question. On the same night, did you see Shion? Didn't Keiichi already mention that he kinda did? My heart leapt to my throat again. The tiny needles buried underneath Mion's words pricked into me. Didn't you ask me that yesterday? I think I told you that I wasn't sure if I had or not. Did you? I guess just thought I had to get a different answer if I asked you again. Get rid of the hangover now. I think you're saying delusional things right now. I suddenly noticed something in Mion's eyes. Something indescribable. Spirals. Tomotaki-san and Takano-san. Shion too. She was asking me about them. There was no doubt about it. Last night, the four of us snuck into the ritual storehouse. She knew everything. Are you sure, though? So what? There's not really a curse anyway. That's right. Even Shion and Takano-san said yesterday during the festival that there was no curse. And that rather than a curse, it was the doing of the villagers. My blood curdled. Mion was, almost without a doubt, aware that we snuck into the storehouse? No, don't start thinking about that now. That's just your guilt of, like, breaking into their talking. Don't imply it. I swear. It was nothing strange. I screwed up bad flipping on the light switch last night. If Mion had been searching for me, I simply imagined that she had seen that momentary light and kind of find out what was going on. Did you really not see her? Why are you so intent on knowing if I did or not? It's not important. I think it is important, at very least, if you're asking about it so frivolously. It's just that there are some people who are speaking poorly to Tomotaki-san, Takano-san, Shion, and you, Kei-chan. I didn't really hear what they were saying, though. Unpleasant sweat dripped down my arms. The sound of it hanging from my fingertips was so annoyingly loud. I don't believe that you were doing something bad. I just wanted to ask a bit about it, so I did. Sorry for making you uncomfortable, okay? I found myself unable to reply. My reaction must have made obvious what the truth was, yet I couldn't explain myself. Kei-chan, you weren't with Tomotaki-san, Takano-san, or Shion, right? Yeah? I finally ran an answer between ragged breaths. Mion's expression softened a little. That's good. I'll have to tell them. You weren't involved in anything bad, Kei-chan, so I'll make sure to tell everyone. Yeah, please do. Tell them I wasn't doing anything bad. To everyone, make sure... Everyone. Everyone. Who is everyone? Okay, later. I'll be better tomorrow. Bye-bye. Bye. Wait, Mion! What do you mean by everyone? Just then, a freezing cold hand touched the back of my neck. Hi, teacher. Hey, you're late, Maebara-kun. How long did it take you to wash your face? I'm being very thorough, okay? I have to get through all the pores of my face, including under my eyeballs, okay? It was the teacher. It was taking so long to come out to get me. Oh, I'm sorry. I was just speaking to Mion. I turned around, but Mion had crossed through the schoolyard without me realizing it, and was now standing at the gate. Come, back to your studies. Quickly now, quickly now. The teacher was being insistent, going towards the entrance. I looked back one more time, and Mion was nowhere in sight. Bye, Mion. Keiichi, you haven't seemed well all day. Sleep deprived. It's clearly because he had far too much fun yesterday. I don't want to be told that by someone who got lost. Your face is all red and you were nearly crying on the way back home. Ha 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 ha. Oh, Sadako-chan was so cute last night. Oh, God. My friends did their best to try and cheer me up. It didn't lighten my mood. Was it far worse than I thought? Had I really done something that terrible last night? I mean, I guess breaking into that place would be maybe a taboo. Like, it did say, like, only the Furuta family would go in, or is allowed to go in there. Like, you know, anyone else would be impure and all that. These thoughts remained with me for the rest of the day. Assuming y'all left for the, disbanded the club early, I guess, because of the whole thing. Bye, Keiichi-kun. I'll see you tomorrow. By the time I realized it, I was in front of my own house. Oh, yay, you disassociated. Oh, my lord. You're in that bad shape. Me-chan a cold, right? Could you be cold too, Keiichi-kun? Could you? Huh? I'm fine. I may look scrawny, but I never missed school because of a cold. Both you and Me-chan didn't look so good today, though. Well, thanks for worrying about me. I'm fine. Idiots don't catch colds, remember? Yeah, because it goes right over their heads through one ear and out the other. There's nothing for the cold to latch onto in the brain or in the body. Reina smiled, then waved at me and left. Whew. With my shoulders bobbing up and down from breathing heavily, I entered the house. As soon as I got back in, Mom called out to me. What? Keiichi? I'm sorry, but could you go to the library and return a few books for me? Huh? I don't feel like it. Errands, chores. I took so long to get back, walking back from school, Mom. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. Your dad and I have to wait inside the house for a phone call right now, so we can't leave. I need to return them today. Could you please do it? Sheesh. Does that have to do with Dad's job? No point arguing if they bring that up. I guess so, but I don't know where the library is. Wait, my first question, Mom, is, why exactly do you need both you and Dad to be here? Why both of you? Why just one of you? Scrunching up face and nose. Oh, you don't? It's a little bit past Okinomiya Station. Just then the phone rang. My parents' faces immediately turned grim. Oh. Mom snatched at the receiver. Hello? Maebara speaking. I'm sorry? Oh, yes, he's right here. Hi. Then she thrust the receiver at my face, smacking me and hurling me to the ground. It's for you, Keiichi. Don't take it too long, okay? I tried to ask who it was from, but asking the person to phone directly would be faster. Hello? Shion? Oh, this is Sonozaki. Well, the younger one. Hello. Do you have time to talk right now? It was Shion. My first question is, does the 80s have a phone ID, caller ID? I don't know, hon. I need to be sure of this. Like, this is 1983, right? I just gotta be completely sure. It wasn't introduced until the late 80s. Damn it. It was Shion. The older sister had a hangover today. The younger one made no reference to it. Shion? I thought you'd be sleeping in today with a hangover, same as Mion. What? Mion had a hangover? Oh, that's so like her. She laughed warmly, but Mom glared at me, suddenly telling me to finish up. Oh my god. Whoops, sorry. My parents are waiting for an important call, so I can't talk for too long. What do you need? There's something I want to talk about, but if we can't talk long, I guess that's that. I sound a little disappointed. What would Shion want to talk to me about? Offer to go to the library and meet up there, I guess. Now I was interested. Then how about we meet in person? If you could show me where the library is too, that would be great. In the public library near the station? Oh, yeah, that's fine. I go past there on my way to work anyway. Okay, then you know where I usually meet up with Mion? At that intersection where the small path and the Sozaki house splits? Oh, Kei-chan, did I not tell you? I don't live at the main house, I live in Okinomiya. If we could meet by the ticket machine at Okinomiya Station, that would be great. Main house? Living in Okinomiya? Yeah, that was addressed before. Now that she mentioned it, it's always seemed like the Sonozaki sisters weren't communicating. Do they live in different houses? Also, now that she mentioned it, Reina said she never met the younger sister, despite going over to play sometimes. Yeah. Let's meet the station then. I'll go there right away. Bye. I set the receiver down, and Mom immediately thrust a large pile of library books in my face. Look, Keiichi, hopefully the books are light enough and small enough so you can hold, like, you can carry them all. 6 volumes of long-form mystery novels. Oh, good taste. Good taste. Well, depends. What author is it? Mom had her own hobbies. Oh, yeah, she has good hobbies. Thank you, Keiichi. Be back by nightfall. Got it. Okay, I'm going. I suppose I changed my clothes and grabbed my bike key. I climbed the stairs in my bedroom. She had been waiting for me already, so meeting out was a smooth process. Wow, Mion never keeps her appointments. My next question is, like, would Mion actually have, like, I guess changes of Shian's clothes just in case if they were? Wonder how long ago they weren't, I guess, living together. Assuming if they don't. They definitely seem like the kind of identical twins who just want to wear things completely differently from each other. I honestly do like her outfit, though. It's nice. Wow, Mion never keeps her appointments. I mean, honestly. Making my sister the standard for everything will get you in trouble. She seemed a little unsteady, too. She was drinking with Mion last night, wasn't she? You didn't get any sleep last night either, did you? Don't try and hide it. You definitely went home from school early. Oh, too bad. I've been at home all day in the first place. I'm smarter than Mion, after all. Hey, I don't think you can call playing hooky smarter. You should finish your errand first. You don't have that much time. We're going to the library, right? My next question, my thought right now, actually, is, how thin are the walls in the warehouse? I think I want to know and be sure of that quite ahead of time, actually. If it's thick, I'm going to assume it's thick for the time being, then I don't have anything to worry about. Yeah, thanks. My mom had to return some books by today. Is the library far from here? No, it's really close by. And thus we walked. As she said that, we spotted the signboard for the library almost immediately. If it was this easy to find, then I guess I didn't need Shion to show me where it was after all. But then you wouldn't meet up and all that, you knows? You knows. We rode around a bend and the building was right there. Chichibone Public Library. Nice background. We lived in the country, so I hadn't expected too much, but it was pretty big. The first floor was actually government office, so the library was only on the second floor. It looked large enough to fit a decent collection of books. Oh yeah, I've seen some libraries like that. I think I remember seeing, I guess, one library as well that has, like, a police station attached to it. That was interesting. I see the caterpillar of learning in the wall. Okay, I like the little colored bench in the bottom right. That's cool. We passed the automatic doors and were greeted by the cool breeze of an air curtain. The cicadas had been loud outside. It was quiet inside the library. The air conditioning inside was keeping the temperature at an ideal level for the books, which had that mildewy smell unique to old paper. A perfect 72 degrees. I guess every library is basically the same, huh? If there was one difference, was that people studying for tests weren't taking up all the seats. I was one of those people, but now that seems like a distant memory. Cram schools. In summer. Trauma. Hello, I have books I'd like to return. The librarian went through the process of checking them in, and then returned my mom's library card. Shion was going around the bookshelves with a deeply interested look on her face, like she wasn't the type who went to libraries very often. Sorry for the wait. I'm all done. Libraries sure are nice and cool, aren't they? That'd be nice aesthetic. I want to work in the library one day. Funny thinking, I was thinking your outfit like reminds me of a librarian almost. Don't know whether to call that boring or dependable. It's a pretty small dream compared to your sister. Mia would definitely want to be a hard-working employee for an international trading company, or some other crazy job that involved her running all around the world. Compared to that, what Shion said is pretty heartwarming. Wholesome. We need to keep our differences dear to us. We're not copies, we're two different people. Call it Shion and Mia, and every time you, now you say that, it almost sounds like a TV show duo. Twins have a lot to think about, huh? Still, it sounds like fun. I don't have any brothers, so there's just me and my parents at home. It can get a little uncomfortable. It's the same for me. I don't live with Mia after all. Oh, right, she said something like that, didn't she? Insensitive, Keiichi. Very insensitive. Why, though? Sisters living apart is unusual. We were getting tired of talking while we were walking. Oh. This is literally connected to the police station. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. Every time I say something about what I've seen before or just connect in my own brain as a joke, sometimes it just comes back again. Okay. We ended up going to the lounge area, which was vacant, and continuing the conversation. Yes, Mia lives in the main house, and I live in Okinomiya. What do you mean by main house? Make it sound like your nobility. Just the main house. The Sonozaki family's main house. Mia's the successor, so she lives with Nana, and apparently studies all sorts of things as preparation to be the head of the family. Oh. Mion, the head of the family? I was thinking of something of like some stressor. That might be it. It kind of fit her personality, but kind of didn't, too. Kei-chan, you just moved here, right? This will sound like I'm boasting, but we, the Sonozaki family, are kind of personages around here. Huh? Seriously? The word personage, or personages, didn't really match the extremely sociable air that Mion and Shion gave off. From what Shion explained, the Sonozaki family goes way back to the beginnings of Hinamizawa. After the war, they had a bunch of successful ventures and extended their influence to the wide area. The Sonozaki house is the foundation under which the entire family cooperates. While the current family head, Grandma, was the one who built it. The entire family would provide backup to help one relative with a business venture. They're like a huge living company. This lets them avoid tax-related problems and help relatives' ventures succeed, one after another, using large amounts of money. If you ever go for a walk through Okinomiya, pay attention to the signboards and stuff. There's a ton of shops that are managed by members of the Sonozaki family. Oh, now that you mention it, that toy store looks like it was managed by relatives as well. Yeah. Does that mean your relatives operate Angel More too? Even what few shops I was familiar with involved the Sonozaki family, huh? It was definitely surprising. The family isn't particularly strong in finance and real estate. You know, a lot of members of the Chamber of Commerce industry either have the last name Sonozaki or are their relatives. There are Sonozakis in the city council and the prefectural assembly too, since they have the Okinomiya area giving them strong electoral support. Wait a minute. This is all escalating pretty quickly. Political power! We're going into political intrigue stories now, slowly. Very, very slowly. Oh boy. Her relatives operate shops in downtown Okinomiya, and they're especially strong in finance and real estate? On top of all that, a lot of those in the Chamber of Commerce and Industry are relatives, and there are even people elected to local offices. Wait, so then the Sonozaki family, it's pretty famous in this area? Oh, hi. I knew it. You were gonna show up. I fucking knew you were gonna show up. I knew it. This is the place where it happens. This is a library connected to the police station. I knew it. Yes, it's crazy. All of a sudden, a cigarette-smoking, overweight old man interrupted our conversation. Wait, I know this guy. Hello. Good afternoon. Are you on a date today? Oh, what a good to be young again. If you thought we were on a date, then why are you bothering us? Oishi-san. That was it. He was Oishi-san, a police officer. I thought it was this person who came to my rescue when I got involved with those delinquents before. When I thought about it, Mion didn't seem to like him very much. Yeah. No, I apologize. I heard a familiar voice that came over to see. Oishi-san laughed coarsely, not showing any sign of giving up. Oh, I see. As she hadn't watched him do so, I didn't feel the same sense of malice from her as I had from Mion. Maebara-san, right? You're one tough guy. Two-timing the Sonozaki sisters, are you? No. No, I'm not two-timing anyone. I turned around to look at Shion and plead for help, but she grinned and maintained her silence. Have fun. Her gaze wandered. She looked at the clock. Oh, I'm sorry, Kei-chan. I really need to get to my job. What did you want to talk about, though? Huh? Oh, do you? Wait, didn't Shion have something to talk about today? Now this weird man is here, though. Yep, I'll see you later. Oh, I'll give you a call after I'm done, though. It'll be okay to call at night, right? Yeah. Hopefully Mion doesn't break into the house again. No, Mion's gonna break into the house and do the whole thing with Reina instead. Oh my gosh. Yeah, probably okay. I'll talk to you later tonight. Bye. Shion left so fast she was practically running. Oishi-san was waving at me with a grin. I felt like I'd been left here as bait so she could get away. Maybe she was lying about having to go to work. You're quite the big shot being so close to the Sonozaki daughters. Maybe I should rethink how I talk to you, too. Okay. Oishi-san put a coin in the vending machine as he said something a bit appalling. Is iced tea okay with you? Oh boy, you actually gonna talk about us. No. You want milk in it? Huh? Oh, no, I'll put some in then, alright? Okay, alright. Here you are. He handed me a cup of tea, filled to the brim with ice, and looked on absent-mindedly. Man, iced tea, not iced coffee. It's like coffee, but, you know, cold. I don't think I'm obliged to have a guy like this buy me a drink, but he did get it for me, so I'll thank him. Look, if anyone offers you a drink, take it. Well, figure out if it's drugged or not first. Was Oishi-san just killing time? We didn't know each other very well, but he still engaged me in conversation about all sorts of dumb things. When I thought back to how I talked with Shion, this seemed like a total disaster. You're always going to leave a bad impression first off. Maebara-san, how much do you know about Sonozaki-san? Other than what I heard just now? Nothing. Until then, I hadn't known anything about either Mion or Shion other than the fact that they were interesting. Oh yeah, but Shion is way more interesting, though. I really did only just learn that she was a daughter of some prestigious family. The Sonozakis are a syndicate with this entire region to their thumb. Incidentally, her father is a high-ranking executive in a syndicate association that's well known even in the Kanto region. Did you know that? What? An executive? Have you ever seen where Shion-san lives? It's the very picture of a gang boss's house, protected by high walls, barbed wire fence, and security cameras. If you have the chance, you should go and visit her. What does the main house look like? She'd mentioned Mion being successor, but to a crime syndicate? No. Not at all, not at all. A boring old syndicate isn't the only thing Mion Sonozaki-san will inherit. She's inheriting the Sonozaki family itself. I'll leave it to you to mull over what exactly that means. Oishi-san had spoken lightly about all this from start to finish, but what he was saying wasn't light in the least. It was abrupt and unbelievable. I guess that would add to like a stress if like I'm trying to think in terms of like I'm really trying to point everyone in a more sympathetic light. Of like the club as well is also like a stress reliever from Mion as well. Really just like heading it up. you know, just to relieve stress before heading home. Besides, the jobs which he's forced to take up at sometimes. If Mion-san wanted to, she could kill someone in the middle of the street and still cover it up. How very pointedly you say of you to say that. Not only would witnesses not show up, but she put pressure on the police, too. Mion would never kill someone. Oh, she wouldn't. She wouldn't. I'm just speaking hypothetically. Your name, it was... Oishi-san, right? Yes, that's right. Then, Oishi-san. Whatever family Mion comes from, it doesn't change the fact that she's the best friend I could ever have. And I'm proud of that. I don't appreciate people speaking ill of her. I let my quiet anger show through my gaze. I stared at him. Of course, I can never seem to tell what he's thinking, so I didn't know if it had any effect. Let me be frank. Oh, hi, Frank. If Mion-san was suspected of a handful of incidences, what would you think? Suspected incidences? You can't just say terrible stuff like that on a whim. Then it would be a misunderstanding, of course. Mion may say some dangerous things, but she's not the kind of person who would do something awful. Maebara-san, keep your voice down. We're in a library. We're in a government facility, which oddly looks like the same place as the police station. Still, it's weird. Why are you even here then if there's absolutely there's no police station connected to this library? Why are you still here? Why are you here? And also, did you literally just bring a bunch of gang members into like this lounge and to threaten them while people are trying to have a good time, like, reading books and studying? Are you insane? Oishi-san shushed me. In a state of heightened excitement as I was, I wouldn't be calmed so easily. Please calm down. As I said before, the Sonozaki family holds a lot of power in this region, for better or worse. So if anything happens, they would immediately be a suspect. I'd appreciate it if you understood that. Well, I know what Oishi-san is trying to say. Combining with what Shion told me before, the Sonozaki family is huge, and controls everything from Hinamizawa to Okinomiya. Mion, meanwhile, is his successor, who apparently holds strong influence over the entire family. They're doing the whole, I guess the eldest daughter, kind of lineage. Even by, man, I was born 3 seconds before you, and I get all the power. You get none of it. Still, that's all? That's the only reason they're suspecting her? Are we having this conversation here too? I'm just doing my job here. Not to doubt Mion-san or anything, but to clear up suspicions surrounding her. Please think of it like that. He could talk a dog out of a meat truck. He was the definition of a shrewd, unfair adult. At this point, I made him think. That was no coincidence that I'd met him. Yeah, no. Oichi-san, do you need something from me? My only question is, how the heckity-heck did you find out that Keiichi was going to go to library of all places? Especially since his parents were put the job of him out of nowhere. What's the secret cover-up thing? Oh my gosh, Keiichi's dad is actually not an artist. It's not a corpse boy. Hyperventilating. Yes, I do. Keiichi Maebara-san. How do you know my name? He answered in an absent tone of voice. Mion's being suspected of something and came to hear from a friend of hers. Me. Is that it? No, that isn't it. I didn't come to talk to a friend of Mion Sonozaki-san. I came here to talk to Keiichi Maebara-san. It would probably have bothered you if I had visited your house. To me? What do the police want with me? Having realized this fake coincidental meeting had me as its target, my mood immediately turned foul. You don't need to be so tense. Calm down and just answer a few questions. Am I being questioned? Let's call it a chat with the guy you happen to run into. Oichi-san further suggested that I relax. I wonder if I'm, well, he's probably going a roundabout way of also, I wonder if one of these, chapters, Keiichi, as well, is maybe suspected of it. I always find those interesting. The main character's also, man, I love those kind of moments where, I guess, antagonists, both, rightfully or, wrongfully Well, actually, no, it was the right way to, well, not rightfully entirely, but like they like the main character like what like did something wrong or like has some inkling connection to the incident, but like them I guess antagonists like then go to wrongfully suspect them of it. I love, I love that trope so much. I've actually seen that a few times in other like mystery stuff as well. It happens a few times in some like some DR fanfics I've read too. The original cast ones. Man, those are good. Those are fun. Oji-san freely suggested I relax. That said, behind his eyes was a light, which I can only see sometimes, that was as sharp as a hawk. If I tried in vain to run away, he might actually take me in and bring me to an interrogation room or something. That was an undoubtedly unpleasant thought. We had a roaring good time at the Watanashi Festival last night, didn't you? As Rip snorting good time. Don't be in the run the bush, please. I can't do small talk right now. Last night during the festival. Did you see Jiro Tomataki-san and Miyo Takano-san? Oh, they both... Okay, they're both the same, okay. I can plainly feel myself give a start. Where did I put those pictures? Oh, here they are. He opened a small notebook and removed 2 photographs. I didn't have to look. Well, who knows? Might have seen them around, I don't particularly remember. I was asked the same question for the second time today. I gave the same answer for the second time, too. Memories are blurry? You couldn't have possibly been drinking or anything. Or I was having too much fun at the festival. Ever think about that? Here, too. I got the same answers I had from Mion. I realized he wasn't taking my vague reply well. Why? Why is he asking me the same thing Mion did? I wonder who actually, like, exactly witnessed, like, them actually breaking the storeroom. Or at least witnessed them, like, walking and talking together. That's also the reason probably, like, Oishi, like, brought up to, like, find Shion. But, like, why was he... If this library's not connected at all to a police station at any point... Like, they mentioned it's a government-connected library. Don't know if that means, like, police or not, or, like, anything like that. Or it could just be, like, It's, like, almost, like, my first thought is, like, some archive, a governmental archive or something like that. It fits the theme of the library, too. But, how exactly would he, like, find a way to coincidentally bump into Keiichi if the whole library book, like, return thing by his parents was not planned? Or was it just a simple thing of Lily just, like, oh, Lily just going outside his house and waiting for Keiichi to go and do things, talk alone? Huh. It happened the first time with the cold, as well when Keiichi went to go to the doctor's. Then he talked to Oishi, the Angel Mort, the restaurant. It is definitely doubtless he would try to do the same thing when Keiichi's coming home from school, because obviously at some point that, Keiichi has to go home to, like, talk to his parents anyway. You're just waiting for the right opportunity to actually talk to him more. Oh boy. The dark feelings I had nearly forgotten due to my conversation with Shion came rushing back in a hurry. We snuck into the sacred ritual storehouse. A punishable act. It was on a tiny impulse. While it may not count for much now, I do feel sorry about it. I'll ask you again. Did you see Jiro Tomomataki-san and Miyo Takano-san at the festival last night? His tone was soft, with dreadfulness in his voice, clearly different from the first time he asked. I'm scared. That was exactly how I felt. If you repeat the same question, my answer won't change. I don't really remember. There wasn't any better answer I could give him. I didn't have the balls to say I didn't see them, or the courage to admit I had. I see. I just thought that maybe I'd get a different answer if I asked a second time. Too scared to look Oishi-san in the eyes. I'll change the question, then. Oh, hi. Come, Maebara-san. No, let go of me! Relax, relax. Oishi-san grabbed my shoulder and squeezed them, as if trying to give me a massage. Please stop. It mostly just hurt, though. Still, why would he ask the same thing as Neon? If he's asking the same things, the next question must be... The same night of the festival, did you see Shion Sonozaki-san? I wonder what that sound was. When I looked down, I saw that it was the unmelted ice in the cup I was gripping my hands. My hands were trembling, rocking the ice back and forth. Realizing that, I put the remaining ice in my mouth and crunched down on it. Sorry. I may have seen her, but, well... You know, she looks just like Mion. I might have just mistaken the two. That can't be. Suddenly Oishi-san grabbed both my shoulders and hunched down to give me a level stare. This must be what it's like to be deer in the headlights. Well, I was right in thinking that there was gonna be something we can't trust him, but like in the first chapter he was a bit more reliable, but like they gave like small hints. Like he has an ulterior motive, and here it's the other way around. I want to look away, but I can't. This is the first time I've experienced such a piercing stare. Mion-san and Shion-san wear completely different clothing. You wouldn't mistake the two so easily, I would think. Maebara-san? His voice was harsh. Harsh, the same as when Mion said it. Okay. I can feel my heartbeat quickening. I realized he could feel it through the hands on my shoulders. I got even more scared. Why are Mion and Oishi-san both asking about last night? Was sneaking to that storehouse so bad? Ugh. I shouldn't have let Takano-san talk me into it. Tomataki-san casually said to check it out too, so... Even Shion encouraged me. Peer pressure time. We're blaming on that now. No, I understood. I was the one most at fault here. Yeah. I shouldn't have let my curiosity get the better of me. I shouldn't have gone into the forbidden storehouse. Oishi-san? Then that's our cue to get out of here. Okay. A young man wearing a suit came into the lounge. The way he held himself, I knew immediately he was Oishi-san's subordinate. Oh, so it is. Closing time already? I hadn't realized until he said something. The jingle and announcement telling patrons the library closed started playing without me realizing it. I was so irritated, so overwhelmed that I couldn't even hear it. Well then, Maebara-kun, we're out of time, so let me take my leave. I'd like to talk to you more about this at your leisure, when we have more time. This isn't a joke. If I never saw him again, it'll be too soon. Oishi-san followed his subordinate and left the lounge behind him. However, he spun back around. Alright, Maebara-san. Don't leave town! What is it? Those two questions I asked you before. You don't remember well enough to answer either of them, correct? Right? Just so you know, you saw them all yesterday. You were walking along, the four of you, having quite a pleasant time. Near the stone steps. I saw you with my own eyes. I caught my breath. My heart seemed like it was about to stop. What a detestable person. He knew, and he was testing me. We'll meet again. Have a good year. Okay, bye. The police were all walking around and all that. Were there even police nearby the store, the warehouse? But they definitely were all around the festival grounds, so yeah. That was good. I love that scene. I sat there like a rock, unmoving, until I could no longer hear the clacking sound of their footsteps. Shion, we need to talk. We're part of a police cover-up conspiracy now. I wonder how Mion knew, though, about the whole thing, though. Maybe she just, like, literally just, well, why ask about Tomataki and, like, Takano afterwards, huh? Or, like, she heard about that from the police officers. On some way. I was on my way back home. The cries of the Higurashi accentuated the already lonely evening. More time had passed than I thought. The orange of the dusky sky was being chased down, little by little, by an indigo color approaching from the east. Exhausted from the slow climb towards Hinamizawa, without even noticing, I got off my bike and was pushing it uphill. Oh boy. New background. Okay, this is, oh, this music. I don't understand any of this. No one had told me to my face that I'd done something wrong. No, in fact, it might have been easier on me that way. What happened yesterday really was just my curiosity. Oh, this is one of those... Oh, yeah, this is... Okay, that's what... Oh, I had the inkling of it. That's definitely where it's going. That the main... Like, the whole, like, the police or, like, someone thinks the main character did something wrong. Like, they killed somebody or, like, were framing them for it. But honestly, did something else really bad at the time. Or, like, there's something connected to that person or anything like that, which makes them not want to talk at all. Or literally just... Ah, oh, God. Oh, I love that trope so much. It's so cool. And Keiichi's not going to realize that either of them are dead. Or gone or anything like that. Oh boy. Not till way later. And since the first chapter basically outlined the fact that all the investigations will be classified, oh boy, for this one, he's not going to know a single thing about it. Also, hi, Car. Don't think I don't notice you there. It really was no more than a quiet prank. No more than having the courage to cross the red light as long as you did with other people. The storehouse for ritual implements, how the ground only accessible to the family of the priest. For sure, I'd seen terrifying things that I'd never imagined would be there. Thinking on it now, though, didn't matter what was stored away inside. Didn't make the wrong I had committed any more right. The four of us did. Mion seemed to know about it. For some reason, even the police are trying to learn what the four of us did. Did we do something bad? Really? It doesn't matter how wrong it was. I did something wrong. But nothing more than that, and yet... I couldn't accept it. I didn't apologize to Mion or Oishi-san. All I did was shield myself with ambiguities. I did something wrong yesterday. I set foot into a forbidden storehouse with a little bit of mischief. I'll forget everything I saw in there. I won't ever do something like that again either. Sorry. Sorry, I'm sorry. If I apologize like that, would they forgive me? The suddenly cool evening air left no room for such sentiment, however, as it mercilessly chilled my feet, urging me to head home as soon as possible. In the end, the evening air was correct. I trudged along to the isolated road. Regrets would pile on top of regrets, but nothing would change. Let's go home. I'll go home, go to my room, put my favorite music or something, and go to bed. Oh no, I'm just realizing this now. Oh god, okay. I feel like this story is also going to go down, at least this route in particular, this path, this chapter, this section, whatever you want to call it anymore. This feels like it's going to go down to... What is the word for it? Survivor's guilt. Or literally just, the whole thing of, like, if Keiichi actually, tell the truth here, he might have actually, they might have helped along, actually help find the killer quicker. And then he's gonna blame himself for it. Or literally just, oh boy. He could have had the power to do something at the time, and then it starts eating away at him, and then he starts feeling so bad about it, and it was his own fault that it's gonna be so debilitating. God. Oh no. And if he, even if he completely, the police absolve him of this fact, then tell him about that, the whole thing of, the choice there, or of, he's gonna go back into his mind and think back to Tomotaki-san asking him to, go with him and Takano, and just would start looping around his head, I should have gone with them, I should have done something more, I should have noticed something, I should have noticed anything, and start, trying to think of ways of how to save them. How he could have done something different and blame it entirely on him. Oh, God. Oh, no. Is it gonna go down that way? Oh, God. Oh, no. I'll go home. Go to my room, put on my favorite music or something, and go to bed. It might sound plain and boring, but it's probably the strongest I've felt all day. You definitely need a stressor. God. Now that I made a decision, there's no point in dawdling in a place like this. I sat back in my bike. I pushed hard on the pedals. I rapidly advanced forward. I steadily gained speed. The wind was cutting, and mercilessly cold, but it actually felt good, as if it were softly punishing me. Yeah, that's what a feeling is going down towards. Oh no. Oh, I feel bad now. Oh, I feel... Oh, no. Oh. Every time this comes up in stories, I feel bad. I didn't eat much dinner before excusing myself early and returning to my bedroom. Okay, don't listen to me, Mom. I need to listen to some sad music right now. My mom called me from downstairs. Keiichi, you have a call. It's from Sonozaki-san. Sonozaki? Was it Mion? No, it was Shion. I just remembered. She had something she wanted to tell me today. Yep, okay, you were that in a depressive funk. Oh boy, oh no. Oichi-san had interrupted us, so she didn't get the chance. Shion had said she called tonight. Hello? Is that you, Shion? Hello. Ran into a bit of trouble today, didn't we? She said so plainly that I got a bit annoyed. She was the one who left me there and ran. Don't say that. I gave you the signal to run away with me, didn't I? You just sat there looking dazed, Kei-chan. I wasn't dazed. All of a sudden you left me there, and after that, I had to put up with the Oishi guy for ages. Don't complain to me about it. Well, I can definitely see that. She definitely gave an out. Yeah, honestly, like literally at this point, yeah, I see it now. Of literally just, you've been to her work several times, and you just say like, oh, I'll walk you there and all that. You could have definitely did that, especially since Oishi also gave the impression of like, hope not interrupting a date or anything like that. And if you don't want to think that way, Keiichi, don't think that way of her at all. It was definitely a way to go, a way to give an out. It's definitely something. I can't believe she passed it off like that. I actually totally buy a beast like how I can totally buy she would do something like that though. It sounds really smart, especially since like literally she's living in a very big wig nobility household. She would definitely know how to do verbal games like that too. It makes sense. Yeah. She looks just like me on the inside. She's this different? I got a little irritated myself when I realized this. When I realized I was somewhere in my mind, hoping the same reaction I would get from Mion, even though she's a different person. But, sorry. Next time I run away first thing and leave you there. Hey, it's ladies first. Okay, I love that. Okay. She laughed refreshingly. When I heard her voice, I realized that she wasn't really that angry or anything. It was just the shit she said. Oh, I wonder if the chapters are gonna do this whole thing as well. Like, at least these next two, along with this, there's always gonna be that one ally character, or somewhere like Keiichi can confide in, at the same time can't always rely on because of, like, for various reason or another. In the first chapter's case, it was Oishi, but he's a police officer who's very cold and like distant. And here's a different dynamic of really just something similar of Shion having like some connections to like a friend of like his group that he's like doesn't want to actually think about being wrong or does something terrible, but also the fact that since their voices sound exactly the same, they're identical twins. All that Keiichi would have to think in his head to think back to what I can't trust you anymore is literally just the thought in his head at some point that what if they change clothes? What if Mion grabs one of her clothes or and like just calls and just pretends to be Shion, stuff like that. It can easily go back to that again. Man. The cause of my temper was because it was my own fault for not leaving immediately. I'll stop blaming it on others. Blaming it on others would be... No. Anyway, you had something to tell me, right? Oh, yeah. I mean, if you already know, then it's not something that bears repeating, then. Do you already know? Shion lowered her voice suddenly, as she was glancing around. Hey, Keiichi, how about, I know you have it. I know you have it, unless your parents decide not to, not unload that little one box in the corner, like, ever since you moved here, but, get get the phone into your room and make the call there. And if your parents aren't Snoops, which I don't think they are in the first chapter, then, you're free to talk and listen. Unless Mion comes into the house and listens to the phone call again. Well, not again, but Paralleling Reina and all that, yeah. I had no idea what I could already know. Sorry, but I have no clue what you're talking about. At least, give me a hint. So that means you don't know. She seemed to take my stupid sounding question as evidence. Oh, she probably heard about the murder happening then because, yeah, her family has power. It all makes sense, actually. It all makes sense. However, her voice didn't sound disappointed or exasperating the slightest. Actually, it's about last night, during the Wanton Nagashi festival. My entire body jolted as I was assailed by a terrible feeling. Yeah, you didn't mean it to at the time, and, even though you did something, I guess, kind of bad, and since you made a bad impression, oh boy, we're just slowly digging our hole into this. Oh boy. Is Shion gonna ask the same thing? Uh, hello? Keiichi, are you listening? Uh, yeah. Yeah, I am. What about last night? The four of us went in there, right? She didn't beat around the bush. Whether or not I wanted to admit it, that was the actual, honest truth. I couldn't act like it hadn't happened. Then after that, we walked away together, then went our separate ways near the stone stairs, right? Takano-san and Toмотaki-san went to the stream, and you stayed there, Kei-chan. I went over to see some relatives. Yeah? Why do you ask? We won't make any progress if we keep asking each other questions, so let me ask this question first, then. Okay? You mean, did I see Toмотaki-san and Takano-san last night? Huh? Oh, yes. Did you see the two of them after that? I'd be lying if I said I wasn't surprised. This is the third time I've been asked this question today. Why? Why? What the hell was going on? Why? Why are you asking me that? No, Kei-chan, I'm asking the question. Please answer me. Did you, Shion? If you answer first, then I'll answer. Oh my god. My shabby response betrayed how scared and small I felt now, to everything that happened today. Shion didn't say anything for a few moments. Just as beginning to think I'd really put my foot in my own mouth with that response, she finally answered me. Of course I didn't see them. My relatives were with me, and they can vouch for that. I didn't see them either. People can vouch for me too, like Mion, Reina, and everyone else. Now that we knew our answers matched, she let out a sigh that sounded more relieved than anything else. Well, thank you for answering me honestly. Okay then, I'll tell you. Oh boy. Apparently last night, Takano-san and Toмотaki-san died. Oh, it's Blaine, they're both dead here. Sorry, Shion. What was that you just said? Apparently last night, Takano-san and Toмотaki-san died. Takano-san was found burned to death. I figured. Toмотaki-san was... well, it looked like a suicide. I found out this morning. I heard my dad talking to a relative on the phone about it. Oh boy. Late last night, a police car on its way back from festival security duty had discovered Toмотaki-san lying in the middle of the road headed towards Okinomiya. He had clawed out his throat and died. So the butterfly effect is still into play. What? He clawed out his own throat? That bright, cheerful Toмотaki-san committed suicide? No, that can't possibly be right. The police did an autopsy. He did with his own fingernails. He scratched his throat so hard that he ruptured his blood vessels and bled out. He died in a pool of his own blood. That's what they said. I never heard of such an insane suicide. You can't just scratch open your own throat like that. I'm just realizing, Keiichi, you're screaming all this right now. Your parents are, thinking right there. Oh, boy. Keiichi, you're doing it right? Not now, Mom! I just realized I was yelling too loudly. God. I realized I was yelling too loudly, so lowered the force I was putting to my voice. I didn't want my parents to hear me, so I switched the cordless phone and ran up to my room. I'm sorry for yelling. So, was Takano-san... was that a suicide too? In her case, it's a little unclear. Oh boy. Takano-san's body was found in the mountains of Gifu Prefecture. Employees at a rest stop nearby reported to the police late that night that they could see flames in the mountains. The firefighters dispatched there were the first ones to find her. An autopsy concluded that it was the burnt corpse of a half-naked female. They initially considered the body beyond recognition, but directly after, there was a request for a dental comparison from the blank prefectural police station at Okinomiya, and results that concluded that it was Mio Takano. The cause of death wasn't confirmed, but was highly unlikely to have been a homicide, since she was in her undergarments, and her clothes were nowhere in the area. The yellow drum had fallen over, so it's also possible she burned herself to death. It couldn't possibly have been a suicide. In that tip, they mentioned that she was strangled, the possibility of it anyway, so it's definitely a homicide. And oh boy, if she's definitely dead in number 1 in the first chapter, and oh god then. Why didn't the killer then make a fire then in the first one? What happened? What was so different this time, in this period right here, in this chapter, which is so different than the first one, that decided to make the killer make a big show of it? It couldn't possibly have been a suicide. If you're gonna die, there are plenty of easier ways, aren't there? This can't be suicide. That's what I think. It's unthinkable that Tomotaki-sama would kill himself too. And the two of us rattled at each other. There was a silence as we paused to catch our breaths. As we calmed our nerves, right then, I understood what Shion's story actually meant. I think it'll end up being Oyashiro-sama's curse. We all did more than enough to deserve it, after all. Deserve? You gotta be kidding! It's not like Shion wanted to see with me. I just went along with her. Don't blame peer pressure again. I tried to say that, but I fell silent. Nothing would come of me blaming others. It didn't matter how much everyone else encouraged me. I could have put my foot down. I lost my own half-assed sense of adventure and agreed to go in with them. Yes, it was my fault, and no one else's. Shion, last night, when we snuck into the ritual storehouse, did you predict things would turn out this way? Of course not. I mean, I thought it was pretty risky, but I never dreamed something like this could happen. Shion's words were probably her true feelings. She knew she'd get in trouble if we were caught, but that was the thrill of this little adventure. The same for me. Besides that, Kei-chan, think about it for a moment. Didn't Oyashiro-sama's curse turn out a little strange this year? It was pretty strange, seeing as how Tomotaki-san Takano-san died like that. Yeah, they're breaking. It's like a break of the chain. It's a break. What was so important to have both dead? If Takano was the one planned to have murdered this year, and Tomotaki to be deemed away instead, even for the first chapter, then it could just be literally for if we're going with the whole thing of every single incident every past year was all planned and everything like that. Why exactly to make a big show of showing off where the second body is then? If every single person, the first person, if every 2 people selected for the curse, let's go with that, was to be murdered and deemed away. If they were both dead no matter what, though, but you just can't find the body of the second one, why make a big show of finding it this time, this year? Given all that, what could possibly be stranger? I mean, if they found 2 corpses, remember what I said? Every other year, 1 person would die and 1 person would disappear. This year, it's the first time 2 people have been found dead. I mean, that may be true, but that's not a huge deal, is it? It is, Kei-chan. Think about it harder. Listen, if 2 people died because of Oyashiro-sama's curse, in order to quell Oyashiro-sama's anger, 2 people would need to be sacrificed. Huh. Is that how it works? Oh boy. Well, doesn't that mean two people have to be missing now? So what? Tomataki-san and Takano-san died, so now two people are going to go missing this year? How long has it been for, like, the next person go missing? Was it always on the festival day? It makes, like, this priest, like, disease and, you know, the wife's, you know, suicide note disappearance, like, that happened the same exact day. They mentioned that. I think it was implied it was that way for the dam construction murder, too. But there was nothing about indicating that from the housewife murder was, you know, Satoshi. Was the same day there? I don't understand why, but when I said that, I felt my spine freeze. I don't think anyone's been confirmed missing yet. I think that those two people have yet to disappear. Shion, like me, was obviously getting the same feeling crawling down her back. Two people yet to disappear? Shion didn't answer. I couldn't say any more than that either. A chill crept in through my clothes and tried to wrap it into a fist around my heart. Cold hands thing about on my chest. Neither of us could say anything. Tomataki-san opened the lock, and he died. Takano-san exposed the ritual storehouse, and she died. If two more people were to be sacrificed, then they would be none other than the ones who entered with them. None other than us. No. This has gotta be a joke. I wanted so much for her to pass us off a joke, even now. That, was such an incredibly difficult and selfish request. If Tomataki-san and Takano-san had died in a common way, like a car accident, I could tell myself it was a coincidence. Instead, he clawed out his own throat, and she burned to death, drowned in oil in the mountains. The two deaths were so out of the ordinary that I couldn't possibly dismiss it as mere coincidence. It was as if, in exchange for sneaking to the ritual storehouse, there must be someone punishing us. Some sort of cruel will working behind the scenes. Even so, I still didn't want to accept the terrifying truth. If I did, then I would have to acknowledge that horrible crisis growing near for Shion and I. That's why I argued against it. I argued knowing I was running away. Being denial is not a bad thing. You just gotta get your bearings. Well, in the first place, it's not even in the newspaper, is it? Such a monstrous incident would be all over the newspapers and television, right? Magazine writers would flood the village, too, thinking make for an interesting story. Of course it's not getting reported by the media. That's how it was in the past, too. When this occurred for the third year in a row, there were some third-rate magazines that sniffed out the story and ran issues full of gossip columns about Hinamizawa. Fearing that the region would develop a negative stigma, they negotiated with the prefecture and the police. Since last year, it became a big conspiracy, where no information about the incidents was allowed to be leaked to the media. I hear the elders and the top brass of the Sonozaki family put all the pressure they could on the police. Huh. Oh, this is gonna be interesting now. Is it the same exact dynamic with Oishi, like, having insider information, but, like, not, like, having him, I guess a condition where he shouldn't have been, like, revealing things to Keiichi? But now we're getting an ally, Shion, who's also, like, a bigwig, like, I guess, descendant of a family, and also have ways to actually, you know, get information somehow. That'd be through the, you know, her parents and all that, but still, it's something. All she has to do with the eavesdrop or, like, ask directly, just root around in files or something like that. Intriguing. You mean their deaths are going to be dealt with in total secrecy? Yep, okay. Well, you're two, middle schoolers, the police are suspecting you of, being part of, a murder, or just, if they're thinking in the other way of, you're gonna go missing and they need to talk to you, yeah, fun. Fun! That's how it is. Of course the police are investigating it. That's being performed in secret too, though, so the investigation itself is very restricted in what it can and can't do. You could essentially say they're interfering with the police investigation. The story is unbelievable. People died, and yet they don't publicize and deal with everything secret. If you break it down further, it means that no matter who dies in the night of the wanted Nagashi, it won't go public. That's the biggest pile of bullshit I've ever heard! Kei-chan, before, I said that the villagers could be the ones carrying out Oyashiro-sama's curse. That's what I mean. At some point, a tradition was created here in Hinamizawa, where every year, you're allowed to kill someone on the night of Wataganashi under the guise of it being Oyashiro-sama's curse. When someone dies the night of Wataganashi, it turns into the curse of Oyashiro-sama. The curse turned into the serial murder incidents. In order to avoid exacerbating the negative stigma surrounding Hinamizawa, those incidences are dealt with in secret. That's insane! Dead and missing people turn up every year. However bad the stigma gets, the police have to draw the line somewhere, don't they? You could say the incidents happening every year is mysterious, but the police can get the job done when they need to. After all, the incidents always get resolved individually. Doesn't it end up being a string of instances, you know? It just so happens that something unfortunate happens the night of the Wataganashi every year. That's all it turns into. That's what it seems like anyway. Disease that happened, then housewife murder, then a whole group team killing, the Dan construction site. Yeah. Most of the criminals responsible for the original dismemberment were arrested. The last one managed to get and stay away. The events were totally exposed and elucidated, so was, in essence, resolved. A damn supporting couple who died in an accident the second year. That was an accidental death. Plain and simple. They made a lot of investigation to the possibility of it having been a homicide, but they didn't turn up anything. It ended up as an accident. It was resolved. The third year, the priest fell ill and passed away. There were doctors present in the hospital at his deathbed, and they all had trustworthy medical certificates. Even did an autopsy, and concluded that it wasn't a homicide. That was resolved too, but the serum, that syringe. You don't even really know if the syringe that Mion and Reina had the day was actually that same thing, like they claimed was put into Tomotaki-san's system or not. And this came to my head too, actually. I wonder, like, just from how like the stories is laid out, I wonder if, like, well, obviously just from how it sounds like the question and answer arc. I wonder, like, I haven't seen the third and fourth chapters yet, so I can't really say for sure, and I don't really want to know the answer to it, but now I'm just wondering, I wonder if, like, you could go through any of the four chapters in any order and still get almost a similar experience, but just learning this information differently, like, first and all that. Or else it's like, it's literally just the same, like, events experienced differently, but, like, it's better you know this piece of information first, that leads you to this, or literally just scrambled up, so, like, if the writer is this good, they're about to make things fair, but also confusing and hard to figure out, they basically lay out the most important piece of evidence, like, an earlier part of a story, or, like, in the very direct middle, and then put a lot of things around it that make things confusing and makes you think otherwise. Then later on, it compounds another piece of evidence, which you wouldn't think about in totality until it's revealed by the end. And by then, it'd still be fair. In the fourth year, the sister-in-law of the Dan supporter couple was killed. The criminal was an abnormal man with a history of regular psychostimulant usage. He confessed that he thought Oyashiro's curse was so interesting he wanted to try it out. The criminal died of an accident while imprisoned, so this incident was essentially resolved as well. That's also weirdly suspicious, though. That's right. None of the incidents had any relation to another, and each was independently resolved. Wait, did it say, like he killed two people? It wasn't just the housewife? A couple was murdered. So as long as just... But then... Either that just means, like, one person's gonna go missing if, like, the curse, like... That's the plan that people involved in this has to be for every year. They want one person at the very least dead, and at least one person to go missing. Unless there's like some other person who went missing that we don't know about for the Hassel murder besides Satoshi, then at least just one person is going missing. Here. Or just a break. So then why does an unfortunate coincidence occur every year on the night of Wantakanashi? You can try and say it's a string of related incidents, but they're not related. And every year someone always dies and someone always disappears. The story Takano-san told me on the day before during the setup. Now that the curse really had occurred this year, I couldn't just laugh it off. Then, does that mean it'll come for us too? Just like how one person dies and one disappears every year, are you saying we'll be taken along with Tomitaki-san and Takano-san at race 2? My lips had, at some point, become completely dry, and just saying that was difficult. Shion didn't respond. Her silence, however, was the clearest form of confirmation she could ever give me. Sure, we went somewhere we shouldn't have, but we were just looking, right? We didn't steal anything or take anything out, and we didn't tell anyone when we looked, right? I was already regretting having committed such a wrong. Even so, was it really so bad that Tomitaki-san and Takano-san deserved such cruel deaths? Besides, I didn't care about anything I saw in there at all. Takano-san was the only one getting so happy over it, wasn't she? Takano-san was the only one at fault. I don't have anything to do with this. I'm not interested. I'm not involved. I don't give a shit about what was in there. I knew saying so wouldn't solve anything. I could feel myself, my cold self, the innermost depths of my heart, disgusted at my pointless howling. However, my emotions had broken through the dam. I couldn't stop them anymore. I didn't have any interest in it from this, any interest in it from the start. Damn it! All I wanted to do was watch Rika-chan's performance. You were the one who pulled me away from that, weren't you, Shion? I don't give a rat's ass whether those two are trying to steal something or try to meet up secretly or whatever. That's right, you're the one who made me go in there in the first place, Shion. You were all, Kei-chan, you need to see what's inside, and you convinced me then pulled me in. Why the hell did you do that? I didn't have anything to do with this. What will you do? What are you gonna do, damn it? How are you gonna take responsibility for this? Huh? Hey, are you listening? Click. Without any warning, the phone cut off with the soft sound of a receiver being slammed down. Shion was just as terrified as I was. I just said some really self-centered things. Yeah? My route of emotions appeared as though they never existed. In their place surged waves of deep regret at having run my mouth so irresponsibly. I could try to call out Shion's name from beyond the disconnected phone, but it was too late. What have I done? Shion was only trying to tell me as much as she could about this thing about to descend upon us. As for me, I could only whine like a child about it. I went to call her back, but then remembered she lived in Okinomiya. I didn't know her phone number. Since it declared to Mion that I hadn't seen Shion last night, I couldn't just call Mion and ask her for Shion's phone number. I was too scared. I couldn't even call her back. I was stricken with hopeless regret. I returned the receiver to its stand, and simply prayed that Shion would call me back again. Please, Shion. Calm down and call me again. Hello, this is Maebara. I slipped up the receiver as though it wouldn't go through if I didn't grab it at that exact moment. Is this the Maebara residence? Excuse me for the late call. I'm Kimiyoshi. Is this the head of the household? Oh, is it the... Wait, hon. Who was that person? I just realized I never commented on them about having a random sprite all of a sudden, but that means they're suddenly going to come back. In the tip section. The person who chauffeured Shion over with a car back to Keiichi's house. No, it's not. It was the voice of a girl who clearly wasn't Shion. All my hopes rushed out of me. No, it isn't. If you need Dad, I'll go call him. I went to put the receiver back down. The caller stopped me hurriedly. Oh, no, no. If he's busy, then it's fine. This may be a strange question, but is my old man paying you a visit? No, nobody's here at the moment. Oh, I see. Again, I apologize for calling you so late at night. Goodbye. Mental Vault? I don't know who that was, but what if Shion tried to call while I was on the phone? I thought, bubbling with egotistical anger. Hey, wait. No, give it a break, Keiichi Maebara. These are the selfless emotions that made Shion mad at me, aren't they? The more I thought about it, though, the more I thought that Shion had given up hope in the short times we had our conversation and didn't want to call anymore. My first thought, if you want to talk to her again, and just he can't call her back, it might both be a good and a bad thing, but you had to apologize. After school, go to her work and talk to her. And talk to her. Okay? Calm yourself, Keiichi Maebara. If she does call again, then first, apologize in a calm voice. If you do that, then Shion would understand. However, no longer how long I waited. The phone didn't ring again that night. You basically freaked out the both of you even more so by you screaming your head off about that. Oh boy. Ugh. Scrapbook note 6-7 late night phone call. Close calls achievement. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh no. Okay. Oh, I lost my train of thought there. But yeah, it slowly seems going down that way. Ah, God, you definitely have to apologize to her about that. I had another thought in mind, but I lost my train of thought there. Oh boy. Man. We gotta keep Kimiyoshi in mind. What the name is, or whatever. But they gave that sprite of that guy and I think right here, like an actual sprite. It actually did look like, I guess, like a Yakuza or like a crime syndicate member or something like that. There was definitely that. But yeah, I'm actually very bit more interested here now. Since instead of I guess with Oishi, we have two people who are with Keiichi having an ally Shion, who again, I'll say, I love her character. She's great. Now, they're both in this together, or they get into an argument later on, or split off again. They're both quite alone, handling this by themselves. If Keiichi just messes up, apologizing all that again, and man, he's practically all alone. It's almost the same exact dynamic in the first chapter. That two people who can vouch aid each other in some way, or too far apart to properly help each other, or be there in a moment to help. But this seems more on a level playing field as well, since both of them are inexperienced as well, which honestly makes things worse. And also, now the layer guild going on. This is going I don't know what that trope is called. Again, I want to know more about that. Man, a few stories that have that, a few stories that have that sort of plotline always get to me a tiny bit because the emotions, all that. Oh, that was the thing I had forgotten about. I was gonna comment this game even more. Both the atmosphere and the emotions running through, it's really good. It's really good. Once again, honestly, I can actually just feel I could sense Keiichi just breaking down right there. It makes sense both in writing, just I guess the tone of it all. It's great. Love it. Oh boy. Oh boy. Was gonna go through the tips here, but now if an episode goes way longer, I think I'll break it up by doing the tips at the very beginning of it. Most likely. Most likely. Also, Keats, makes things a cliffhanger. Even more so. Oh boy, oh boy, oh. So, Mion basically probably heard all about the whole thing about Shion and, Keiichi, like, having some connection to the crime, or, like, the police suspecting him in some way, shape, or form. Like, from, same way Shion did by hearing their, like, their parent or guardian, like, grandma, really just talking over the phone about it, and eavesdropped on that. And that's how Mion knew. That's how she knew. And, and since Mion and Shion, like, have technical alibis at the time, like, with the, relatives thing, like, definitely afterwards, but Keiichi, like, went home. Technically means Shion has an alibi, but Keiichi doesn't. Unless he went straight home with, Reina, or, like, they stopped at the path, and then he left there, and all that. Not exactly a cool-headed alibi. Sharon Polly is the person has a better alibi than Keiichi. If we're gonna try to think of ways of how to get the police off their backs, yeah. I also honestly do like this turn of events as well in some sort of way, because now Keiichi's to like interact more with Shion, and she's great. He's great, and also just like this new situation dynamic they're having here is honestly kind of really, really good written. Man, I can't wait for it. Oh boy, but I'm pretty sure at some, like, literally at the very least, Keiichi is gonna find some way, whether he's gonna, an emotional, like, wreck, like, go and, like, try to apologize to her at the restaurant at some point, or anything like that. I feel like it's the best thing he can do right here. I'm guessing it's gonna happen next chapter, most likely. But I guess we'll see what happens, whether or not my prediction is right, for next time. So, hope for time watching as I am playing this. Hope we see you next time, what time that may be. And I all hope a fantastic day.